our speaker is Ruth. I just came to know her during this period of these sessions. They have opened for me a very big opportunity of connecting and networking with the great people. And it's wonderful to have Ruth tonight. She is one, I know she will be telling us more, as I said earlier, and you are blessed here. So karibu sana Ruth, take over from here. The floor or the Zoom or the screen are yours. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Matthew. It's such a great honor, such a privilege to be able to meet with these amazing people. I mean, when I see such kind of people that are zealous to be able to grow, to add knowledge to themselves, I mean, being a lifetime student, it's usually amazing. And I must congratulate each and every one of us tonight for setting this time to be able to have this juicy conversation together with us. And so, like you've heard my name, I may not mention it again, and I've said I'm an author of one book titled My Journey of Faith and Hope, meaning there is a lot of hope in this life. It doesn't matter where you are coming from. And today's discussion, I'll also be able to pick some of the scripts from my book so that we could be able to have that discussion, and you can also have a feel of it. It's not yet launched, so you have a privilege of even getting the book in a special offer for these forums, courtesy of Matthew. So I appreciate you, Matthew, for such a privilege, even as I connect with this amazing team. So today the question is, what legacy are we living in? And as we ask ourselves, today we're asking ourselves so many questions. And I trust that the session will be very interactive. Even as you come in, I know there's that which you heard or saw about the topic and you're asking yourself. And I don't know what comes into your mind, just like the way you would log into Facebook and you ask what is in your mind. So when the word legacy comes into your mind, what really comes to your mind? If you could be able to just type the chat so that I could be able to feel or to see what it is that you have with you. So I'll allow a few seconds for someone to tell us what they feel or they understand about that word, and we'll be able to proceed so that we could have that interactive session. I can hear people typing, yeah. Destiny and impact. Thank you, Matthew. Yes, a powerful one. And as you type, if you'll allow me to just be able to project my presentation tonight. I'm not able to see the charts, Matthew.
Oh, okay. Yes, there is another one saying contribution to society and affecting people's lives. That's from Elizabeth Mukinyo. Yeah.
Wow, good to see you, Elizabeth.
Yes, I don't know whether you can see the charts now. Emodia is saying a story that people will tell about you when you are not there. That's
wow.
Emodia Benjamin.
Yes. Awesome feedback, revelations here.
And
I'm trying
the
to.
Heritage by Robert E.K.
Robert K. Awesome. So we can be able to go with those ones and just bring about some of the objectives that we would be able to pick from the same. And it is about questions. As we said, we're asking ourselves so many questions tonight.
You can enlarge your
one
screen.
of the questions. Oh yeah, thank you. Sorry for that. Can be able to pick it from down here. You're good now?
Very good.
Matthew?
Yes, very good.
Okay.
Awesome. So like I've said, we will be able to ask ourselves several questions. And the number one question, because we are talking of the legacy, is whether we know our gifts that drives that legacy. Because you can only give what you have. And as a person, or as God created you to come into this world, there's that one question that you ought to answer. And when you answer that, you are answering using the talents that God has equipped you with, or the gifts. And the big question tonight is, do we know even the gifts that God has given unto us? And then the other thing is, why am I gifted? Then if you have the gift, do you know why you are gifted and not the purpose, like Matthew was mentioning? And then if you already know the purpose and if you already know the gift, what are you doing with it? When I usually get to this point, I usually remember of the story of the talents, and the three guys that were given the talents. One was given 5, the 2 and the 1. And there's one who felt like is being misused, or someone is taking advantage, and he went to hide. And tonight, the big question will be the gift that God has given you, or the talent. Have you tried to make use of it, or have you gone to hide it somewhere? Then the other thing is that who needs the gift? Have we identified who needs that kind of a gift that you've been given? And then, of course, can I visualize my obituary? Because we are talking of a legacy here, and out of the definitions we've gotten, many times we know that we are not here forever. Of course, we have limited time that we are here on earth, and that limited time, because time is the real asset, what are we doing about it? And then we could be able to visualize. I usually appreciate or love when maybe you are going for a funeral and someone has to read the eulogy, and at some time you want to put yourself into the shoes of that person and ask yourself, so if it was me that was being read off the eulogy, what would people be able to say about me? And so we are saying that the gift leads one in fulfilling their legacy. All right, so we could just move on and say life facts. Life facts is that as we sit here today, and even for myself, I know I am a beneficiary of other people's gifts. We are also a beneficiary of the vision that Matthew and the team had to be able to put us together here and to be able to learn. In life, I always say this, my cup of knowledge can never be full. I mean, any other time I get an opportunity to be able to nurture my gift or my talent, it's a joy. And so there's a joy of sharing your gift. Like I've mentioned, when God gives you the gifts or the opportunity to be able to serve, you are not serving yourself, rather you are serving other people. And those other people, I usually love giving an example of an orange tree, because I love oranges. And when it gets to an orange tree, whenever the orange will be ready for eating, you will not be able to see the tree itself consume its oranges, but it is the orange tree that gives that fruit to the people, to the beneficiaries, just like the tree can also be used as a nest. And so whatever it is that you've been given by God, it is not meant to be yours. So there should be that joy in sharing your gift. Then of course, we are saying the gifts and the talents, they have life, so they can live or die. And when they die, that is now we talk of the legacy. And as we live, we are working around living that legacy. So I want us to get some definition. I know you have been able to give me some of the definitions tonight. And from what I was able to come up with is what I would share with us. One, the essence of you who are for the future generation. Whatever it is that we do today, whether in the workplace, because as we talk about legacy, I don't want our minds to just figure out when you are dead. It is even when you are living, because I believe we are destined to different activities. There are those of us who are in businesses, there are those who are of us in phases that maybe you're employed, in another phase you're, whatever it is that you're doing, and for the period or the season you are in that space, the moment you step out, you've already left a history. Just like the way the definition 2 says that something that is part of your history or that remains from an earlier time. I know most of us that maybe we are in Nairobi, we could be coming from the village. Like for me, I was brought up in the village. And when I go to the village, of course, I'll be given some history or some stories of who I was when I was young, when I was growing up. And that is part of the legacy, because it is not like a destination. It is a part of the daily activities that we do every day that will be able to create this kind of a legacy. And of course, like the other one we've mentioned, now maybe when we are long gone, the eulogy one creates while alive, and you'd wish to create it yourself today. We have the opportunity. God has given us the chance to be able to create that which we want in our lives. And so legacy comprises of the stories, the memories, the value adding, even money, because that one is also left behind as a legacy. And we can be able to pick out, the season or the times now with the social media and the daily actions. We ask ourselves, what is it that we post even in our social media? What do we want people to perceive us to be, or who are we whenever we to communicate to the world, even through the social media, communicate to the people in our actions, because our actions will always speak louder than any of the words. And so that is the definition I came up with. And I believe we have so many others, just like the way you've shared with us. And the part of it really creating the history. I want to share some truth about legacy. And this one is very interesting, that it is built on a daily basis. And I've just indicated that a good day starts a day before. Just like the way you would have your goals set and tomorrow, this is what I want to do or what I want to achieve, or maybe I'll be going to work, or you could be a student and you have this period that you have to prepare even for your exams. It could be end of year or it could be a semesters. But now you will not wait until, for example, you are told you have exams tomorrow for you to be able to revise or to prepare. You ought to prepare in good time. And so everyday activities, habits will always be able to create to that kind of a space to build that strong kind of a legacy. I usually say it's like a foundation of a brilliant building. I don't know what building you may be visualizing as we talk about buildings. And when you see this magnificent kind of a building, like I've seen of late, there are so many nice buildings that are upcoming, even in like say a place in Upper Hill and many other places maybe you would have visited or talk even in the world. If your destinations are like Dubai and such, and you find the materials that are used, they really do contribute to the foundation of this kind of a building. I mean, it calls for experts to be able to come and put their expertise and their knowledge into it, and then they could be able to come up with the same building. And the location also matters, because you'll not have this magnificent kind of a building that you want to attract maybe users or tenants, and you put it in a funny kind of a scenario. So even for us, when we are doing our life journey, a step at a time to be able to get to this building of a brilliant kind of a legacy, the materials it requires, what is that we put in our lives every other day? Who are the people we're interacting with that could be able to add into the expertise? And where are we situated? Are we in the wrong place the right time, or are we in the right place the wrong time? And basically this, the truth about legacy that we could be able to ask ourselves. And so at this place, I want to pause and give us a story based on what I'm sharing right now. Like I've mentioned, I have grown from the upcountry in the Makueni County. And when I was growing up, I'm grown from a humble beginning, whereby we didn't have a choice, some of these things that we desire to have as children. And there's one thing that I really loved, which was a piece by called chapati. I know it was a delicacy, or it could be even now to many of us. Because for me to be able to, we used to make chapatis or get chapatis once in a year. And we were so many of us because we were brought up in a family of many people, my cousins, my relatives, or maybe when you get to hear that neighbors are making, you know, there's that kind of, we call the aroma that would be able to call you and you feel like you want to go there. The kind of a life people live, or we used to live in up country, was this kind of a life that if you want to make chapati, maybe that tool to make, that tool, you have to go and borrow it. And so, or it could be a sufuria. So when you get to hear someone is making chapati, you would make an excuse of going there and be able to see whether you could be served with this a gem of a meal that is seen maybe once in a year. And when I was growing up, you know, it has been my prayer that whenever I grow up, I'll be able to make these chapatis, or I'll grow, I will buy, because many times you may even visit and you realize people are not even ready to serve, maybe until you step out, and it would really bring some situations of feeling you are not worthy or you're not loved or whatever it is, and it is very, very rare from your end. And so as I was growing up and I've gotten to this point, I usually remember this story of chapati. And from the chapati, it's where I want to pick up the pillars towards building a worthwhile legacy. And so the C for me, because it's an acronym, it stands for choices. And for us to be able to make in life really do matter. The choices inform our character, they inform every other thing, because today you could be able to fall or you make mistakes and you're feeling maybe you are not worthy, but you can be able to make a choice and say you have a reason to be able to stand up and move and fall forward, because our God is a merciful God. Or you pray and you tell him, just like him, he has given us choice of life and death. And it is up to us to be able to pick that choice, whichever it is we want. God will not choose for ourselves, but we ought to choose it for ourselves. And so the choices we make should be able to inform the legacy we want to live in this life. May it be studies, may it be the spouse you want to marry, may it be the number of children, may it be where you want to go to school. Life is all about choices, and we ought to make the right choices. And then, of course, the other thing is hard work. Actualizing and doing something. I believe during this time of COVID and this season, we have so many people that have been affected in their businesses or in their employment. And you get to a point and you even get confused. Others are even committing suicide. And you want to pause and ask yourself, okay, so what next? My business, maybe I was in the tourism industry, it's no longer working, or I was doing this. Do you just stop at there and say you're not able to do anything else? I know you will be able to come across, and for myself, I've come across people that are also choosy in whatever they have to do. Like it could be a simple thing like even being a house help, you know, and someone tells you, get me a job like in the village, and I love mentoring youth and connecting them with opportunities, and someone will just be specific and tell you, don't be able to give me a house help job, or don't be able to give me this gardening job, or don't be able to give me this kind of a job, because to them, they may be able to visualize. And you never know. You never know what God has in store for you. And because some blessings usually come like rags in life. And when they come, you realize, oh, I may not pick this or choose this. And you never know that is where your blessing is hidden. I remember when I was growing up and looking for a job, because immediately I finished high school, I didn't have a way of going to college. And the only jobs I would be able to get were the odd ones. I remember going to some place whereby you would be able to pick some merchandises and you leave your ID and you're given your margin, like you're told this thing is for 30 bob, go sell at 35 or 40, then you return to pick, or return money, or the the thing and you'll be able to get your ID back. And I remember having done this thing like for over and over again until I realized you are really working, you're selling during weekdays, maybe you've not even segmented your customers, and where you're going, you're knocking, finding the owners of the house or the potential clients are not there. And then it could be traumatizing. But you don't just stop it there. You know, you can be able to do anything. I remember there's some time I had started a grocery. And what I realized is that some things like food, people will always eat, whether it is thick or thin or people don't have money, they'll always be able to eat. And I would be able to wake up to go to Marikiti because I realized when you wake up and go early, that place, you'll be able to get, you know, the quality of the items you want to pick would be the best. So you wake up early by 4:35, you're there, you pick your items, go back to the house, you groom, you go present yourself, because branding is also very key. And I would really find myself doing good until you realize, how can I be able to get to the next level and get something better, or you desire, because at some point for me, I desired if I could just be employed. And God is always gracious. He answers the prayers of our hearts. So even as we pray, He really will be able to answer those prayers. And then, of course, the A for me stands for associates, the power of association or the principle of associations. And you ask yourself, who are the people? Because just like they say, show me your friends and I can be able to tell you your future. Or you are the average of the 5 people you hang around with. And when you talk of the people that you hang around with, are you the smartest among them all? Or do they really challenge you? Or you're hanging around these people who are always patting your shoulders and telling you, hey, you're doing so well. You're the kind of a guy we want to have around, but there's no one who is challenging you within that. Then that means you're not growing. And of course, hanging around people will fund your dream because you already know your vision, you already know what it is that you want to achieve in this life. So are the people that you are hanging around being able to challenge you, to be able to take you to the next level of where you are headed? And if not so, then it is the high time to check around. And when you check around, you say, all right, it is another time to align, to be able to fix myself in the right space with the right people, those that will challenge me, and they will be able to make you a better person, because in this life, you can always be able to become better version of yourself. Every day you endeavor. It is an intentional journey. Then of course, for P, it's about the passion. When you're doing something that you are passionate about, and this is something you can always get feedback from your friends, from yourself, or even from, you can even be able to do some of the activities that will lead you to understand this thing, however much I can do it, whether I'm being paid or not. So that drives to your passion. You are naturally flowing into that kind of an activity without struggling in any way. And that will be another aspect that you'll be able to measure as a pillar towards building that worthy one legacy, because it has to come with passion. There's no other space. And then of course, there's what we call action. And I love the way Zig Ziglar says that the difference between your wishes and what you do about the same, it's about swinging to action. You don't just wish, oh, I wish I will be able to do this, but you don't want to ask yourself, what is that which is limiting you? Is it fear? Is it the environment you are in? Are they the friends or the people around you that are limiting you not to get to some action? Because the action is the differentiator of everything that you will be able to do. Just like I've said, my growing up and my trying to figure out what it is that I need to do in this life, trying out business one after the other. It doesn't matter whether it is succeeding, because when you try it out and it succeeds, it's a plus. If it doesn't, then you've also learned another way of not doing a thing, and you can be able to run into that kind of an aspect, to know that I have to do something with my hands, that action. I remember the children of Israel when they were coming out of Egypt, and they prayed, and God made them a way, even for them to be allowed to pass through the Red Sea, and God made a way. It was their action to be able to just make that simple step of faith to move. And it calls for these small things, just like the way you would be able to have someone bring you food. You didn't have food, and what is expected of you is the action of just feeding yourself if you're in that kind of a situation. So ask yourself, what action can I be able to do, or what action haven't I done so that I could be able to build this worthwhile legacy? And then the other pillar is about being teachable. And like I've said, I'm really commenting each and every one of us that we could be able to sacrifice some time and to be in this kind of a space, such a time like this, when people have different things. There are those who are watching Maria, for example. There are those that are doing some other stuff, but you're feeling like you want to pick a thing or two and run with, that you could be able to make a better self for you tomorrow. Because in this life, we don't compete with people, but rather we complement each other. And picking a value in your life, like we say, we are lifetime students. It's what we appreciate. My mom loves calling it being fat. When you're being fat, it's being faithful with the information that you've just been able to get, or you are anticipating to get. And of course, being available, like for all of us, being available tonight, and not only here, many other forums. It could be a seminar, it could be reading a book, it could be doing whatever it is, the materials that we talked about, that you will be able to add as much as information and knowledge to yourself, so that even your confidence would be able to increase. For me, again, like I've said, the Lord has really worked on me, because the confidence and the esteem aspect, having been a challenge for me, it took me surrounding myself with the right people who would be able to encourage me, and even to be able to talk to people, even in front of a camera, not only a camera, even in a forum. I remember there's a time I was given an opportunity to go talk to some professionals at KICC, whereby we had close to over 5,000 people. And it was my first time, and I really had to gather some courage to go and have a conversation with these professionals. For them, they don't even know whether you have butterflies or not, but you have to put into practice that which you've been learning. So when you are teachable, when you are available, you'll always get the information, and God will always grace you to be able to be the kind of a person you are in. And then we also have the other pillar, which is the seventh one. And this one, we're calling it investing in self, being intentional. Of course, for you to build a worthwhile legacy, you ought to invest in yourself, adding value to you. And you can be able to do it by either coaching. There's an analogy I usually love about a car. And whenever you look at a car, it usually has 5 wheels, 4 that are already fixed that are driving, and the spare part. And for us to be able to look at that aspect to see how we could be able to invest in ourselves, we are looking at who is this other person, or what is it that I can be able to do different from without me to add that value. You know, it's the high time we ought to raise our hands and say, I need help. And you can be able to invest yourself through even coaching, through mentorship, through being guided, through working with the people that are helpful. But by the end of the day, you are not in a situation of getting someone to deprive your energy, rather add much of value. And this also comes the same with the associates or the friends that someone would be able to hang around. I remember the story of the children of Israel when they were going to do the spy of the land. When Moses was told by God in the book of Numbers, chapter number 13 and 14, that he would need to get some spies to go and look at the land, the land of Canaan, which they were to inherit, or they were to be able to step their feet to inherit. And because of their mama, most of those people that were always complaining, murmuring, things are not working. I mean, those are the people that God decided, because of not believing in me, even having witnessed the miracles, even having witnessed so many things while in Egypt, they still had some time to doubt God. And God told them they are not going to inherit the land because of that. But anyone who was 20 years and above would not make to that. But we had Caleb and Joshua. Caleb was of someone of a different faith. And he saw things differently from the rest of the spies. He saw things in a different angle. And that is the thing that we ought to ask ourselves. Someone may feel like either going back to invest in coaching or mentorship, it will be able to cost them money, and maybe they have money for different things. And so I'm saying there's a lot of good things that we could be able to learn from each other. Just like I've mentioned again, for me, even when I was growing, being the firstborn, and my late dad was also the firstborn. So I didn't have people to look up to, having grown in the village, and that they could be able to guide me, to mentor me. I usually love mentoring people, or passion of mentoring the youth, because I tell them I didn't have this opportunity. And so because you are available and you are teachable, that is the reason as to why I would want them not to make any of the mistakes that I made while growing up, because by the grace of God, yes, I am where I am, basically because God had a good plan and a purpose. And as I look behind, the process has been long. It took a lot of patience for me to be able to see what God has in store for me, to be able to equip me, because our God does not call the qualified. He calls and then qualifies those that he has called. Ourselves like, if I can be able to visualize my eulogy right now, it's not something that I would love. If I look at where maybe I am working or where I am doing my business, it is not something that I can be able to appreciate. We have the chance tonight. We have the chance, and since we have life, and life is the biggest asset that we have. It's not about the properties. It's not about the other things. But so long as we have life, it means that God has given us another chance to be able to create that which we ought to live for, and to trust and to have faith in. And so for those pillars to stand, they ought to be cemented. Those gaps need to be brought in together to make a very firm foundation to that kind of an aspect,